The Vanishing Act. Chapter 1. The Final Performance. The sun dipped low over Maplewood, casting a golden hue across the lake where the annual summer festival was in full swing. Laughter and music filled the air, but the real draw was the stage set up on the shore, adorned with twinkling lights and colorful banners. Tonight was the night everyone had been waiting for. Charlie the Great Thompson's magic show. Mia Reynolds stood at the edge of the crowd, her notepad clutched tightly in her hand. As a local journalist, she had covered Charlie's performances for years, but this year felt different. There was an electric buzz in the air, a sense of anticipation that made her heart race. Charlie was not just a magician, he was a beloved figure in Maplewood, known for his charm and charisma. But beneath the surface, Mia sensed a tension that had been building over the past few months. As the show began, Mia watched intently, her pen moving swiftly across the page. Charlie dazzled the audience with his signature tricks, disappearing coins, levitating scarves, and the grand finale, the escape from the locked box submerged in the lake. The crowd gasped as he was locked inside, the box lowered into the water. Mia felt a knot tighten in her stomach. Something about this felt off. Minutes passed, and the audience began to murmur. The box remained submerged, and the countdown clock ticked ominously. Mia's instincts kicked in. She pushed her way through the crowd, her heart pounding. As the seconds turned into minutes, panic set in. The stage manager shouted for help, and the crowd erupted into chaos. Finally, the box was pulled from the water, but it was empty. Charlie was gone. Chapter 2. The Aftermath. The news of Charlie's disappearance spread like wildfire through Maplewood. The town was in shock, and the festival that had once been filled with joy turned into a somber gathering. Mia found herself at the center of the storm, her journalistic instincts ignited. She needed to uncover the truth behind Charlie's vanishing act. As she interviewed townspeople, she discovered a tapestry of emotions woven into the fabric of Maplewood. Some were devastated, while others whispered about Charlie's past. Rumors of thefts that had coincided with his performances, a bitter rivalry with a fellow magician named Victor, and a mysterious woman who had been seen with him in the weeks leading up to the show. Mia was curiosity piqued. Who was this woman, and what secrets did Charlie hold? She decided to dig deeper, starting with Victor, who had been vocal about his disdain for Charlie's success. Chapter 3. The Rivalry. Mia found Victor at a local bar nursing a drink. He was a tall man with a brooding presence, his dark hair falling over his forehead. As she approached, he looked up, his eyes narrowing. "Are you here to gloat?" he asked, bitterness lacing his words. "Not at all," Mia replied, taking a seat across from him. "I want to know what you think happened to Charlie." Victor scoffed. He was always too full of himself, thought he was invincible. Maybe he finally got what was coming to him. "Do you really believe that?" Mia pressed. "You two were rivals, but seemed like there was more to it." "And what?" Victor's expression softened for a moment, revealing a flicker of vulnerability. "We were friends once, before he got famous. But fame changes people. It's a dangerous game." Mia sensed there was more to Victor's story. "What about the thefts? Did you ever suspect Charlie?" Victor hesitated and leaned in closer. "There were whispers. Strange things went missing during his shows. But I never thought he'd stoop so low. He loved magic too much." Mia scribbled notes, her mind racing. The pieces were starting to come together, but she needed more information. She decided to track down the mysterious woman. Chapter 4. The Woman in the Shadows. Mia's investigation led her to a quaint cafe on the outskirts of town, where she learned the woman's name, Lila. She was an artist, known for her ethereal paintings that captured the essence of Maplewood. Mia found her in the cafe, sketching by the window. "Lila," Mia approached cautiously, "I'm Mia Reynolds, a journalist. I'm looking into Charlie's disappearance." Lila looked up, her eyes wide with surprise. I don't know anything. I haven't seen him since the last show." "People say you were close," Mia pressed gently. "What was your relationship with him?" Lila's expression shifted, a mix of sadness and fear. "Charlie was complicated. He had a darkness about him, something he hid behind his magic. I was drawn to him, but I also feared what he was capable of. He confided in me about his struggles, the pressure of performing, and the secrets he kept. Mia leaned in, intrigued. What kind of secrets? Lila hesitated, biting her lip. He mentioned the thefts, but he always brushed it off as rumors. I thought he was just being paranoid, but there was something else, something he was afraid of. Afraid of what? Mia pressed, sensing they were on the brink of a breakthrough. Charlie believed someone was out to get him. He thought his rival Victor was trying to sabotage him. He was convinced that Victor wanted to ruin his career, maybe even harm him, Lila revealed, her voice trembling. Mia's mind raced. If Charlie had been living in fear, it could explain his erratic behavior leading up to the performance. Did he ever mention any specific threats? Lila shook her head. No, just that he felt watched. He was paranoid, but I didn't take it seriously at the time. I thought it was just the pressure getting to him. Mia thanked Lila and left the cafe, her thoughts swirling. The pieces of the puzzle were starting to fit, but there were still too many unanswered questions. She needed to confront Victor again, armed with this new information. Chapter 5. Confrontation. Mia returned to the bar where Victor was still nursing his drink. This time, she approached with a sense of purpose. Victor, I need to talk to you about Charlie's fears. He looked up, annoyance flickering across his face. What now? Lila told me that Charlie was scared of you. He thought you were trying to sabotage him, Mia stated, watching for his reaction. Victor's expression hardened. That's ridiculous. I would never hurt him. I may have wanted to outshine him, but I respected his talent. Did you? Mia challenged. You were jealous of his success. What if that jealousy turned into something darker? Victor slammed his drink down, causing the glass to rattle. You don't know anything about me or Charlie. We had our differences, but I would never wish him harm. I wanted to beat him fair and square. Mia studied him closely, searching for any signs of deception. Then why did you two have such a bitter rivalry? What really happened between you? Victor sighed, his shoulders slumping. We were friends once, but when he started to get famous, he changed. He became arrogant, and I couldn't stand it. But I never wanted him to disappear. I just wanted to prove I was better. Mia sensed the truth in his words, but there was still something off. If you didn't do anything to him, then who did? Victor's eyes darkened. I don't know. But if someone was after him, it could be anyone. The magic community is cutthroat. There are people who would do anything to take down a star. Mia left the bar, her mind racing. The mystery was deepening and she needed to explore the darker corners of the magic community. There had to be more to Charlie's story, and she was determined to uncover it. Chapter 6. The Dark Side of Magic. Mia's investigation led her to a hidden magic shop on the outskirts of town, a place rumored to be frequented by magicians seeking rare props and secrets. The shop was dimly lit, filled with an array of strange artifacts and dusty books. The shopkeeper, an elderly man named Mr. Hargrove, eyed her suspiciously as she entered. Is it possible? I managed to gather the courage to... I'm looking for information about Charlie Thompson, Mia said, trying to sound confident. Mr. Hargrove's expression shifted, a flicker of recognition crossing his face. Charlie was a talented magician, but he dabbled in things he shouldn't have. The darker side of magic can be dangerous. What do you mean? Mia asked, intrigued. There are tricks that require more than just skill. Some magicians seek power through forbidden means, and Charlie was drawn to that world. He wanted to be the best, but it came at a cost, Mr. Hargrove explained, his voice low. Mia felt a chill run down her spine. Do you think that's why he disappeared? Possibly. If he got involved with the wrong people, it could have led to his downfall. There are those who would do anything to protect their secrets, he warned. Mia's heart raced. She needed to find out who these people were and what secrets Charlie had uncovered. Do you know anyone who might have wanted to harm him? Mr. Hargrove hesitated, then nodded. There's a magician named Silas Blackwood. He's known for his ruthless ambition and has a reputation for eliminating competition. If Charlie crossed paths with him, it could have dire consequences. Where can I find Silas? Mia asked, determination fueling her quest for answers. He often performs at underground shows. You'll have to dig deep to find him as he doesn't take kindly to uninvited guests, Mr. Hargrove warned. his eyes narrowing. Mia thanked him and left the shop, her mind racing with possibilities. The underground magic scene was a world she had only heard whispers about, but now it felt like the key to unlocking the mystery of Charlie's disappearance. Chapter 8. The Final Clue. Determined to uncover the truth, Mia returned to her notes and pieced together the information she had gathered. The thefts, the rivalry, the dark side of magic, it all pointed to a tangled web of deceit. But one thing still eluded her: the connection between Charlie and the mysterious woman, Lila. Mia decided to confront Lila again, hoping to find the missing piece of the puzzle. She found her at the cafe, sketching once more, lost in her art. "Lila, I need to talk to you," Mia said, urgency in her voice. Lila looked up, her expression wary. What is it? Did Charlie ever mention anything about a secret he was keeping? Something that might have put him in danger? Mia asked, her heart racing. Lila's eyes widened, and she hesitated. He did mention something once, about a trick he was working on, something that could change everything for him, but he was scared to perform it. Why? Mia pressed, leaning in closer. He'd believed it could expose him, reveal the truth behind some of his past performances. He thought it might be too dangerous, not just for him, but for those around him, Lila confessed, her voice trembling. Mia's mind raced. What kind of trick was it? Did he say what it involved? Lila shook her head, her brow furrowed in concentration. He was vague about the details, but I remember him mentioning a hidden compartment in his props. He said it contained something that could ruin him if it got out. Did he ever show you this prop? Mia asked, her heart pounding with excitement. No, he was always secretive about his tricks. He wanted to keep the magic alive, but I could tell he was struggling with something deeper, Lila replied, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. Mia felt a surge of determination. I need to find that prop. It might hold the key to understanding what happened to him. Violet nodded slowly, her expression shifting from fear to resolve. I think I know where he kept his things. His workshop is just outside of town. If you're going to look for it, you should be careful. There are things in there that might not be meant for anyone else's eyes. Mia thanked Lila and set off toward Charlie's workshop, her heart racing with anticipation. As she arrived, the sun was setting, casting long shadows across the property. The workshop was a small, unassuming building, but Mia felt a sense of foreboding as she approached. Inside, the air was thick with dust and the scent of old wood. Mia's eyes scanned the room, taking in the clutter of props, costumes, and half-finished tricks. She moved cautiously, searching for anything that might lead her to the hidden compartment Charlie had mentioned. After rummaging through various boxes, she finally stumbled upon a large trunk in the corner. It was locked, but Mia noticed a small keyhole. Her heart raced as she searched the room for a key, finally spotting a small, ornate key hanging from a nail on the wall. With trembling hands, she inserted the key into the lock and turned it. The trunk creaked open, revealing a collection of props and a small, intricately carved box nestled among them. Mia's breath caught in her throat as she lifted the box, feeling its weight in her hands. As she opened it, a rush of emotions flooded over her. Inside lay a series of photographs and documents, evidence of the thefts, a list of names, and a letter addressed to Charlie from someone warning him to stop his investigations into the magic community's darker dealings. Mia's heart raced as she pieced together the implications. Charlie had been onto something big, and it had cost him everything. But who had sent the letter? And who was behind the thefts? Suddenly, she heard a noise outside, and her heart dropped. Someone was approaching. She quickly closed the trunk and hid behind a stack of props, holding her breath as the door creaked open. Chapter 9. The Confrontation. A figure stepped inside, silhouetted against the fading light. It was Victor. Mia's heart raced as she listened to him mutter to himself, clearly agitated. Where are you, Charlie? You can't just disappear like this, he said, pacing the room. I didn't mean for it to go this far. Mia's mind raced. What did he mean? Had he been involved in Charlie's disappearance? She needed to confront him, but she had to be careful. As Victor continued to pace, Mia quietly reached for her phone, ready to record the conversation. You think you can just walk away from this? He muttered, his voice rising. You think I'm the only one who wanted to see you fail? Mia took a deep breath and stepped out from her hiding place. Victor, what did you do to Charlie? He spun around, surprise etched on his face. Mia, what are you doing here? I know you were jealous of him, but this is more than just rivalry. You were involved in something much darker, weren't you, she accused, her voice steady. Victor's expression shifted, a mix of anger and fear. You don't understand. Charlie was getting too close to the truth. He was going to expose everything, and I couldn't let that happen. Expose what? Mia pressed, her heart racing. The magic community has secrets, things that could ruin careers and lives. Charlie was digging into the thefts, and he was going to reveal who was behind them. I didn't want him to get hurt, but I was scared of what would happen if he kept going. Victor admitted, his voice trembling. Mia felt a surge of adrenaline. So you admit you were involved. Did you have something to do with his disappearance? Victor ran a hand through his hair, frustration evident on his face. I didn't want him to disappear. I just wanted him to stop. I thought if I confronted him, he'd back off. But I never meant for it to go this far. Confronted him how? Mia pressed, sensing the truth was just within reach. I went to his performance that night. I wanted to talk to him, to warn him. But when I got there, he was already in the box. I thought he'd be fine, that he'd come out like he always did, but when he didn't, I panicked, Victor confessed, his voice breaking. Mia's mind raced. So you didn't know he was in danger? You thought he was just performing? Exactly. I thought he was just being dramatic like always. But when he didn't come out, I realized something was wrong. I tried to find him, but it was too late, Victor said, his eyes filled with regret. Victor said, Mia felt a mix of emotions, anger, pity, and confusion. If you didn't do anything to him, then who did? Who sent him that letter? Victor's expression darkened. I don't know. But if Charlie was onto something, there are people who would do anything to protect their secrets. You need to be careful, Mia. You're digging into something dangerous. Mia's resolve hardened. I'm not backing down. And Charlie deserves the truth. And so does this town. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps echoed outside, and both Mia and Victor turned toward the door. We need to get out of here, Mia urged, her instincts screaming that they were no longer safe. As they moved toward the exit, the door swung open, revealing Silas Blackwood, flanked by two burly men. Well, what do we have here? Silas said, a sinister smile spreading across his face. Mia's heart raced as she realized they were trapped. What do you want, Silas? She demanded, trying to keep her voice steady. I want to know what you've found, Mia. You've been poking your nose where it doesn't belong, Silas replied, his tone dripping with menace. Victor stepped forward, his voice shaky. You don't have to do this, Silas. Charlie didn't deserve this. He was just trying to protect himself. Silas laughed, a cold, cruel sound. Protect himself? He was a fool just like you. And now, you both need to learn that some secrets are better left buried. Mia felt a surge of fear, but also determination. You think you can intimidate us? We know what you're hiding. We know about the thefts and the dark side of magic. Silas's expression darkened. You have no idea what you're dealing with. You think you can expose me? You'll regret it. Before Mia could respond, Silas gestured to his men, who moved to block the exit. You're not going anywhere until we settle this. Mia's mind raced as she searched for a way out. Victor, we need to find a way to escape. We can't let them silence us. Victor nodded, his fear giving way to resolve. There's a back door. We can make a run for it. As they turned to flee, Silas shouted, Stop them! The men lunged forward, but Mia and Victor dashed toward the back of the workshop, adrenaline fueling their escape. They burst through the door and into the night, the cool air hitting their faces as they sprinted away from the warehouse. Behind them, they could hear Silas's furious shouts, but they didn't look back. Chapter 10. The Truth Unveiled. Mia and Victor ran until they reached the safety of the main. Lila hesitated, fear flickering in her eyes. I don't know if I can. Silas is dangerous. He has a way of making people disappear. We can protect you, Victor assured her, but you have to trust us. If we don't do this, Charlie's story will be buried forever. After a moment of silence, Lila nodded, determination replacing her fear. Okay, I'll do it. For Charlie. And for you. With Lila in tow, they returned to the police station, where Officer Harris was waiting. They presented their findings, and Lila recounted her experiences with Charlie, detailing his fears and the secrets he had uncovered. As the pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place, Officer Harris's demeanor shifted. This is serious. If what you're saying is true, we need to act quickly. I'll gather a team, and we'll confront Silas. Mia felt a mix of anxiety and hope as they prepared for the confrontation. They had come too far to turn back now. The truth was finally within reach, and they were determined to bring justice for Charlie. Chapter 11, The Confrontation. The following day, a team of officers, including Officer Harris, set out to confront Silas at his underground magic show. Mia, Victor, and Lila were there to provide support, their hearts racing with anticipation. As they arrived at the warehouse, the atmosphere was tense. The crowd was gathered, unaware of the impending confrontation. Mia felt a surge of determination as they approached the entrance. "Stay close." Officer Harris instructed, his voice firm. "We'll move in quickly and catch him off guard." As they entered the warehouse, the lights dimmed, and the crowd erupted in applause as Silas took the stage. Mia's heart raced as she watched him perform, his charisma captivating the audience. But beneath the surface, she knew the truth. Just as Silas was about to begin his next trick, Officer Harris stepped forward, his voice booming. "Silas Blackwood, you're under arrest for the disappearance of Charlie Thompson and for your involvement in a series of thefts in the magic community." The crowd gasped, confusion spreading like wildfire. Silas's expression shifted from surprise to anger. "What is the meaning of this? You can't just barge in here." Mia stepped forward, her voice steady. "You think you can hide behind your illusion, Silas. We know what you've done. Charlie was onto you, and now the truth is coming to light." Silas's eyes narrowed, a dangerous glint in them. "You think you can take me down? You have no idea who you're dealing with." As the officers moved in to apprehend him, Silas's men surged forward, but Officer Harris and his team were ready. A scuffle broke out, and Mia felt her heart race as chaos erupted around her. "Get Lila out of here," Victor shouted, pushing her toward the exit. "We'll handle this." Mia grabbed Lila's hand, pulling her toward the back of the warehouse. "We need to get to safety," she urged, glancing back at the unfolding chaos. The sounds of shouting and the scuffle echoed in her ears as they navigated through the crowd. As they reached the exit, Mia turned to see Officer Harris struggling with one of Silas's men. "We can't just leave them," Lila exclaimed, her eyes wide with fear. "They'll be fine. We need to get you to safety first," Mia insisted, pushing Lila through the door and into the cool night air. They sprinted away from the warehouse, the sounds of the confrontation fading behind them. Once they were a safe distance away, Mia pulled out her phone and called Officer Harris. "We're outside. We need backup," she shouted, her heart racing. "Stay where you are. We'll be out in a minute," Officer Harris replied, his voice strained. Mia and Lila waited anxiously, the adrenaline still coursing through their veins. Moments later, the door burst open, and Officer Harris emerged, followed by Victor, who looked disheveled but unharmed. "Did you get him?" Mia asked, her voice filled with urgency. "Not yet, but we're not done," Officer Harris replied, his expression serious. Silas managed to slip away in the chaos, but we have enough evidence to track him down." Mia felt a mix of relief and frustration. "We can't let him get away. He needs to be held accountable for what he did to Charlie." "We will," Officer Harris assured her, "but we need to regroup and come up with a plan. Silas won't go down without a fight." As they stood outside the warehouse, the reality of the situation began to sink in. Charlie's disappearance was more than just a mystery. It was a reflection of the dark underbelly of the magic community, and they were determined to bring the truth to light. Chapter 12, The Hunt for Silas. In the days that followed, Mia, Victor, and Lila worked closely with Officer Harris and his team to gather more evidence against Silas. They interviewed witnesses, collected testimonies, and pieced together the timeline of events leading up to Charlie's disappearance. Mia felt a renewed sense of purpose as she delved deeper into the investigation. She spent hours researching the magic community, uncovering more about the underground scene and the players involved. The more she learned, the more determined she became to expose the truth. One evening, as they gathered in the police station to discuss their findings, Officer Harris laid out a map of the area. "We believe Silas has been hiding out in a remote cabin in the woods. We need to move quickly before he disappears again." Mia's heart raced at the thought of finally confronting Silas. "What's the plan?" she asked, her voice steady. "We'll set up a perimeter and move in at dawn. We'll have backup ready in case he tries to flee," Officer Harris explained. but we need to be cautious. Silas is dangerous, and he won't hesitate to fight back. As they prepared for the operation, Mia felt a mix of excitement and fear. This was it, the moment they had been working toward. They were finally going to confront the man who had caused so much pain and suffering. Chapter 13, The Confrontation at the Cabin. At dawn, the team set out for the cabin, the air crisp and filled with anticipation. Mia, Victor, and Lila rode in the same vehicle as Officer Harris, their hearts pounding as they approached the secluded location. As they arrived, they parked a safe distance away and surveyed the area. The cabin was nestled among the trees, its windows dark and foreboding. "Stay close and follow my lead," Officer Harris instructed, his voice low. They moved cautiously toward the cabin, the sound of crunching leaves beneath their feet echoing in the stillness. Mia's heart raced as they reached the door, and Officer Harris signaled for them to stop. "On my count," he whispered, raising his hand. 3, 2, 1. With a swift motion, Officer Harris kicked the door open and they rushed inside, weapons drawn. The cabin was empty, but the air was thick with tension. "Silas!" Officer Harris called out, his voice echoing through the space. Mia's eyes scanned the room, searching for any sign of him. "You must be hiding," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Suddenly, a noise came from the back of the cabin, and they all turned toward it. "Check it out," Officer Harris ordered, and they moved as a unit toward the sound. As they approached, they found a trapdoor leading to a basement. "He might be down there," Officer Harris said, his voice tense. "We need to be careful." Mia felt a surge of adrenaline as they descended the creaky stairs, the darkness enveloping them. The air was damp and musty, and the faint sound of movement echoed from below. They reached the bottom and found themselves in a dimly lit room filled with old props and equipment. "Silas!" Officer Harris called out again, his voice firm. "We know you're down here." "It's over." A shadow moved in the corner and Silas stepped into the light, a smirk on his face. "You think you can just barge in here and take me down? You have no idea what you're up against." Mia felt a chill run down her spine. You're not going to get away with this, Silas. We have evidence against you." Silas laughed, a cold, mocking sound. "Evidence? You think that will stop me? You're all just pawns in a game you don't understand." "Ibis, enough of this," Officer Harris shouted, stepping forward. "You're under arrest for the disappearance of Charlie Thompson and for your involvement in the thefts. Surrender now, and we can do this the easy way." Silas's expression darkened, and he took a step back, his eyes glinting with malice. "You think I'll go down without a fight? You have no idea what I'm capable of. You think, grab it?" Before anyone could react, Silas lunged for a nearby a large, ornate box and flung it open. Inside was a collection of smoke bombs and other magical devices. "You want a show? Let's give him a show!" he shouted, tossing a smoke bomb to the ground. The room filled with thick, swirling smoke and chaos erupted. Mia coughed, trying to see through the haze as Silas made a break for the back exit. "After him!" Officer Harris shouted, his voice barely audible over the commotion. Mia and Victor followed closely behind, their hearts racing as they navigated through the smoke. They burst out of the cabin just in time to see Silas sprinting into the woods. "We can't let him escape!" Mia yelled, determination fueling her steps. Officer Harris and his team fanned out, pursuing Silas through the trees. Mia and Victor stayed close, adrenaline pumping as they raced after him. The sound of branches snapping and leaves rustling filled the air as they pushed deeper into the forest. Suddenly, Silas stumbled and Mia seized the opportunity. "Victor, now!" she shouted, and they both lunged forward, tackling Silas to the ground. "Get off me," he snarled, struggling against their grip. Officer Harris and the other officers quickly caught up, surrounding them. "Silas Blackwood, you're under arrest," Officer Harris declared, pulling out handcuffs. "You're not going anywhere." As Silas was restrained, Mia felt a wave of relief wash over her. They had finally caught him. "You'll pay for what you did to Charlie," she said, her voice steady. Silas glared at her, his expression filled with rage. "You think this is over? You have no idea what you've unleashed." With Silas in custody, the team returned to the cabin to gather evidence and secure the area. Mia felt a sense of closure beginning to settle in. They had uncovered the truth, and justice would finally be served for Charlie. Chapter 14. The Aftermath. In the weeks that followed, the town of Maplewood began to heal. The news of Silas's arrest spread quickly, and the community rallied together to support Charlie's family. Mia continued her investigation, determined to ensure that the truth about Charlie's disappearance was fully revealed. As she worked alongside Officer Harris, they uncovered more details about the thefts and the dark dealings within the magic community. Silas's connections ran deep, and it became clear that Charlie had been in over his head. Dia also spent time with Lila, who had become a close friend throughout the ordeal. They often met at the cafe, discussing art and the healing power of creativity. Lila began to paint again, channeling her emotions into her work, and Mia found solace in writing about the events that had unfolded. One evening, as they sat together, Lila looked at Mia with gratitude. I don't know what I would have done without you. You helped me find my voice again. Mia smiled, feeling a warmth in her heart. We all have our battles to fight. Charlie's story needed to be told, and I'm glad we could do it together. As the town prepared for a memorial in Charlie's honor, Mia felt a sense of purpose. She had uncovered the truth, but it was more than just a story. It was about the impact Charlie had on the community and the legacy he left behind. The memorial would not only celebrate his life, but also serve as a reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of even the most enchanting illusions. On the day of the memorial, the town gathered at the lake where Charlie had performed his final act. The atmosphere was somber, yet filled with a sense of unity. Mia stood among the crowd, her heart heavy with emotion as she listened to the speeches honoring Charlie's contributions to Maplewood. She said, as the sun set, casting a warm glow over the water, Mia took a moment to reflect on everything that had transpired. She had faced danger, uncovered secrets, and forged new friendships. But most importantly, she had given a voice to Charlie's story, ensuring that he would not be forgotten. After the speeches, Lila stepped forward holding a canvas covered with a cloth. I'd like to unveil a painting I created in honor of Charlie, she announced, her voice steady despite the emotion in her eyes. With a gentle tug, she revealed a beautiful painting of Charlie performing one of his signature tricks, surrounded by a swirl of vibrant colors that seemed to dance on the canvas. The crowd gasped, and Mia felt tears prick at her eyes. It was a stunning tribute to a man who had brought joy and wonder to so many. As the crowd applauded, Mia felt a sense of closure wash over her. Charlie's legacy would live on, not just in the memories of those who loved him, but also in the stories that would continue to be told. She knew that the darkness they had uncovered would serve as a cautionary tale, a reminder of the importance of trust and the dangers of ambition unchecked. In the weeks that followed, Mia published a series of articles detailing the investigation, the magic community's secrets, and the impact of Charlie's disappearance on Maplewood. The response was overwhelming, with readers expressing their support and gratitude for shedding light on such a complex story. As she sat at her desk one evening reflecting on everything that had happened, Mia received a message from Lila. I'm starting a community art project in Charlie's honor. I'd love for you to be involved. Mia smiled, feeling a sense of purpose reignite within her. I'd be honored, she replied, eager to contribute to something meaningful. Together, they began to organize workshops and events that would allow the community to come together, share their stories, and create art inspired by Charlie's magic. It became a way for the town to heal, to celebrate creativity, and to remember the man who had brought them all together. As the project unfolded, Mia found herself more connected to Maplewood than ever before. She had not only uncovered the truth, but had also helped foster a sense of community and resilience in the face of adversity. In the end, the Vanishing Act was not just about a magician's disappearance. It was about the power of truth, the strength of community, and the enduring magic of storytelling. And as Mia continued to write, she knew that she would carry Charlie's spirit with her,